Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we're really cutting through the noise, getting you straight to what matters with AI agents, this tech that's, well, it's rapidly changing how we work, how we live. We've pulled together some really fascinating insights from a recent YouTube deep dive. There's an interview with Flo. He's the founder of Lindy. That's an AI agent platform. And also some views from a reviewer. Shark numbers.
So our mission today, unpack these sources. We want to pull out the absolute key nuggets about what AI agents are, why they're useful, maybe even essential, and crucially, how you can actually start using them yourself.
Yeah, and what's really interesting here, I think, is how these sources don't just define this new category of AI moving past just chat models, but they actually walk us through really practical uses. And they even touch on the bigger picture, the future of work implications. Get ready for some real aha moments, I suspect. Okay, so let's unpack this first part. A lot of us know ChatGPT pretty well now, right? You chat with it, it gives you text, great for brainstorming, writing stuff. But these sources are saying AI agents are, well, a whole different beast, a big leap. So what's the real difference? What does flow mean when he says ChatGPT responds, but an agent does stuff?
That really is the core of it.
Mm.
Uh, the key difference, like Flo points out, is that ChatGPT gives you text, it responds, but it doesn't really do anything beyond that conversation. An AI agent, though, it does stuff. It's built to connect to your actual apps and systems. Think Gmail, your calendar, Zendesk, Intercom for support, Google Docs, Slack, and it uses those apps. It takes actions for you.
Right, so it's not just chatting, it's an executor. Almost like the sources called it an AI employee or maybe an AI intern.
Yeah.
Can you give us some quick examples from the sources? What does this doing actually look like in practice?
Absolutely. And the sources are really clear on this. So take email management. An agent can pre-draft your email replies. It learns from how you edit them. So imagine, your morning emails are basically ready for a final look.
Okay.
Or meeting productivity. An agent can join your meetings, take notes, automatically create the action items in Asana or Trello, send reminders, summarize the whole thing. It can even give you feedback on how you did in the meeting.
Wow.
Then there's customer support, monitoring the inbox, answering tickets, using your knowledge base from, say, Google Docs or Notion. It can even issue refunds or check order statuses if you're running e-commerce.
That's quite practical.
Yeah, and sales and outreach, too. Doing research on prospects, Google, LinkedIn qualifying leads based on criteria you set, and then personalizing and actually sending outreach emails.
That's a pretty powerful list. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, for everyone listening. The sources aren't just saying, hey, cool tech. They're arguing these agents are becoming a necessity, like an inevitable shift. So beyond just saving time, what's the bigger impact here for us as individuals and for businesses?
Right. Connecting it to the bigger picture, the sources really hammer home two massive advantages. Yes, cost savings, but maybe even more importantly, speed and scalability.
Yeah.
For individuals, it's about that productivity boost. They talk about agents saving 5 or 10 hours a week, some users even claiming 50 hours a week.
50. That's
Yeah.
doubling your output, basically.
Exactly, doubling output. And for businesses, think about not having to constantly hire, interview, train, onboard, manage, or even fire customer support people. An AI agent for support, it can scale infinitely, handles millions of tickets if you blow up, costs nothing if demand drops to zero. They call it the cloud for knowledge work.
The cloud for knowledge work. That's a really potent phrase. It captures that elastic scalability.
Precisely. It means knowledge work can finally have that same kind of elastic cost and scale we only used to see with, cloud computing infrastructure.
Okay, that sounds incredibly powerful.
Can that be?
Almost too powerful. Which, brings up the big question everyone asks. Does this mean people lose their jobs? How did the sources, especially Flow, tackle that?
Yeah, it definitely raises that very important question about job displacement and long term. The sentiment from Flo was pretty direct. Yes, he used the analogy of tractors replacing farmers, automating physical work. The idea is knowledge work is next in line. The argument is basically that AI will just get so much better, faster, cheaper, smarter, that eventually it'll be hard to find a reason why humans should keep working in many roles.
That's quite a stark prediction.
It is, but
Yeah.
there's crucial nuance for the short to medium term. Let's say the next 5 to 10 years. The expectation isn't mass immediate job loss for everyone. It's more like deep disruption. Jobs will be transformed from doing the work to managing the agents that do the work. That's the key shift.
Managing the agent.
Exactly. And the message was pretty clear, almost urgent. You're going to have to adopt these systems very fast, otherwise someone else is going to do it and they're going to pick you out of the job. So it's less about if it happens, more about adapting to how your role changes.
Okay, so that shifts the focus from like an existential threat to an urgent need to adapt. So for our listener, maybe they're tech savvy, maybe they're just really curious. How do you get started? What skills do you actually need in this AI agent world? What did the sources say?
It's interesting, they kind of pushed back on defining one complex skill. It's more about the practice of creating and managing AI agents.
Hmm.
And the advice was surprisingly simple. Just play tennis, meaning you've just got to do it. Jump in, no big secret.
Playing tennis. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. And the most important skills, they argued, boil down to two things. First, just being able to think through your own work, your processes, in a really clear, step-by-step way.
Logical thinking,
Yeah,
basically.
right. And second, what they called prompt tech.
Uh,
And they specifically said not prompt engineering, because that makes it sound way more complex than it is. It's just speaking in English.
Okay, that's huge. Just speaking English is the new skill.
That's the idea.
Hmm.
Your ability to clearly explain a workflow in plain language becomes like the new coding.
That makes it feel much more accessible. For so long, automation felt locked behind code. And the sources said platforms like Lindy are no code. Super simple. How simple are we really talking? For someone maybe not familiar with, Airtable or even Zapier.
Yeah, they explicitly describe Lindy as ChatGPT and Zapier having a baby, which is a great analogy, right?
Yeah, that paints a picture.
Makes it the closest replica of a real personal assistant. The core message was, if you use tools like Airtable, Notion, Bubble, maybe even just Google Sheets competently, you've got the basics down. You can learn this. It's like learning anything new. You'll struggle a bit initially, but they claimed after literally just a couple of hours, you're going to get the hang of it.
A couple of apps?
That's what they suggested. Because under the hood, it's an LLM on Rails. You're just defining the rails and boundaries for the AI model. You do it in steps. It's almost like programming in natural language, or, yeah, pseudocode, if that term makes sense to you.
Okay.
And if you get stuck, the advice was very practical. Try a bunch of crap. Basically, experiment. Talk to an AI for help, like the support inside Lindy, or even ChatGPT itself. Join communities, like on Slack. Watch tutorials. It's iterative. You tweak, you test, you refine. Just like coding, but way more accessible.
That really lowers the barrier to entry, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is exciting. So, okay, let's make this really tangible for you listening. The sources actually showed building agents. Can you walk us through some of the specific agents they built or demonstrated? What does that process look like?
Yeah, let's dive into some examples from the Lindy demo that really make it click. First, they mentioned the meeting assistant suite. Lindy apparently comes with some default agents ready to go, like a meeting note taker. It joins your calls, records, emails you the notes. Simple.
Okay, that's useful out of the box.
Yeah. And a meeting prep assistant. This one researches people you're meeting with externally, checks LinkedIn, your email history with them, and sends you a prep email beforehand. And then a meeting scheduler. You just CC Lindy on an email chain, and it figures out times, sends the calendar invite, like a human assistant would.
Okay, those are solid basics. What about building something from scratch?
Right, so they showed building a sales agent. For lead generation and outreach, the goal was find leads, check if they're good fits, send them personalized emails. It starts with a trigger, maybe you just chat with the agent, give it instructions. Then it uses a prospecting tool, an API, to search for people. You can tell it job titles, company sizes, location, whatever.
Got it.
And here's a key detail. For each step, you can decide how specific to be. You can manually tell it exactly what to do, prompt the AI to figure out the details, or let it run more autonomously. So it finds leads, then it can loop, show you the leads it found, ask you which ones to actually contact.
So there's a human in the loop option?
It's exactly for personalization and trust. Inside that loop, for each lead you approve, it can do more research, maybe using something like Perplexity for recent news about their company. Then it drafts a personalized email using a template you gave it, filling in placeholders like company name or person name. And crucially, you can add a guardrail. Make it ask for confirmation before sending anything. Shows you the draft, you can edit it or approve it.
That seems essential for outreach.
Totally. Though you could turn that off if you were doing, say, mass recruiting emails they mentioned sending 200 at once. And another cool thing, you can choose different AI models like Claude, GPT-3, GPT-4, Gemini for different steps within the same agent, so you can fine-tune performance and cost.
Interesting. Mix and match models. What else did they build?
They also showed building an email partnership triagger. The goal here was automatically sorting incoming emails, looking specifically for partnership or brand deal offers. The trigger is simple. Email received, but filtered maybe just for external senders. Then it uses a condition, like an if statement. If this email looks like a brand deal or partnership offer, and they added another layer, and if they look serious.
Okay, but how do you define serious for an AI?
That's the key. You have to teach it. Define what serious means. Does it include company details, specific deliverables, a media kit attached? You specify the criteria. So if it meets the serious criteria, the agent could maybe append a row to a spreadsheet, a Google sheet tracking potential partners with date, name, company notes. Or it could even reply directly, asking for more details, like, thanks for reaching out. Could you share the proposed deliverables and timelines?
And if it's not serious?
Then maybe it just adds a label to the email in Gmail, like unserious or partnership low priority, cleans up your inbox. And this whole thing can run automatically on a recurring schedule. Check yesterday's emails every morning, for example.
Yeah.
They did stress you'll need to iterate, tweak those conditions. Because the models are smart, but they're not like human level smart yet. It's a process of refining.
Right, it's not magic, it's configuration and refinement. It really does sound like the potential is huge, though. We've mostly talked business use cases. Did the sources touch on anything more personal? What else can these things do?
Yeah, the flexibility definitely opens up some really unique personal applications. Two stood out. One was a decision-making assistant. Imagine an agent that wakes up, say, every Friday and asks you about important decisions you made that week.
Yeah.
It remembers them. Then it pings you again in 6 months, and then 12 months, asking you to reflect on how those decisions turned out. It could even connect to that meeting notes agent we mentioned to automatically pull out decisions made in meetings. The goal is to help you track and improve your own critical thinking over time. A personal feedback loop.
That's actually fascinating, like journaling, but automated and proactive.
Exactly. The second one was a personal network manager. Basically, a lightweight CRM for your own contacts. You link it to, say, a Google Sheet where you log people you meet professionally. Then you can query it like, who do I know in India? Or remind me who works at Acme Corp.
Simple enough.
But here's the cool part. It can watch your inbox for things like flight confirmations. And if it sees you booked a flight to, say, London, it proactively checks your network sheet, suggests people you know in London, and even offers to draft emails for you to set up coffee meetings while you're there.
Whoa, okay, that feels next level. Proactive networking assistance. The interviewer's reaction was apparently, wow, this is going to save so much time.
Yeah, it moves beyond just storing info to actively helping you maintain and leverage your network. Turns passive data into action.
That really illustrates the potential depth here.
Absolutely. So, we've really taken quite a deep dive today into these AI agents, from what they fundamentally are, these doers connecting to your apps, to their, frankly, transformative potential, boosting individual productivity, enabling that cloud-like scalability for businesses. We've seen they're surprisingly accessible to build, even without coding. And we've looked at some really creative uses, both for work and for personal life, going way beyond simple automation.
When you step back from all the details, what's the one thing that really stands out to you? For me, it was that point near the end. The sources stress how these systems save you time, maybe hours, potentially dozens of hours a week, doubling output even. But then they pose that really critical question, what are you doing in the time that you save?
Right, and Flo, the expert, admitted he's working harder than ever, even with these tools, which led to that idea that we might become the bottleneck of a very productive asset.
Exactly. And that leaves us with a really profound thought, doesn't it, for all of us? If AI really can automate so much of our work, the tedious stuff, maybe even some complex stuff, what do we do with that freedom? Will we actually use it for leisure, creativity, connection? Or will we just find ways to take on more? Pushing the limits of human productivity, maybe pushing our own limits too far. It's definitely something to think about as these AI agents become, well, more and more a part of our daily lives.